most viral Cowboys draft moments of all time at 877-881-1053. What is your favorite Cowboys draft moment ever? You know, and you can get on the truckwreck.com fan text or join us on the Twitch or YouTube chat. Please leave your name and city you're texting from, and we'll try to make you famous right here on 105.3 The Fan. We'll get to those here in just a second. Henry's still the best back in the NFL, says 682. Would you?
Hard to argue that.
Yeah.
Until proven otherwise.
It's definitely going to a lot of conversation on Cowboys Twitter today and on the text throughout the day. I think maybe the most popular conversation other than Bijan Robinson as far as, you know, things that can really get the chatter going and be a polarizing discussion.
Very polarizing, yeah.
Brian, what was your favorite moment when you were working with the Cowboys from your draft?
When we drafted DeMarcus Ware. That was because that was a struggle. That was one of those times where, you know, Parcells had a big stick in that room, and Jerry and Steven and everybody was lining up on. It was a good discussion. It was a fair discussion. When you talk about Sean Merriman and stuff, and it was my last draft, and I just remember how passionate the scouts were about the player and how they felt like, Bill, you got to listen to us on this guy. And you know, a lot of people were, you know, and Bill was like, no, I don't want to listen. But to Bill's credit, he allowed it to happen. But in that draft, it was cool because you went Ware and then you went Spears, and it just played out perfectly. If you couldn't have had a better first day draft, it was one of my favorite days ever in the war room. There.
You changed your defensive line significantly on that day.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk
Chris
about
Canty as well in that draft.
Exactly, and you know, and I'll tell you, I could talk about the drafts like I say with Philly, but it's not. It's about what we did in Dallas and stuff like that. There was. Man, it was incredible that day, and you know, just the way that it worked out, and
when you ran the draft for Philly.
No, that worked out good. Now, we're talking about Dallas's draft.
Yeah,
is what we're talking about, and so that was one of my.
What's the one where you were so pissed at Jerry or the coaches or something because they took this guy?
I was working at Pro Personnel. We took Dwayne Goodridge, you know,
out of Tennessee.
And I'll never forget this because Henry Schroka, who's now in Pro Personnel for the Cowboys, I was sitting there taking notes and going, you know, and Henry was going on and on and on about how, you know, this guy doesn't want to lift. He doesn't want to be, you know, he's not a great teammate. He's not a guy that wants to work out. He hates to practice. You know, everybody, and we're sitting there listening to people talk about this player at Tennessee. And here we have a scout who scouted the guy, and Henry was a really quiet guy. And I looked at Henry and I go, bro, you've got to speak up.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to speak up. You've got to be He's like, Brian, no, I'm not going to do that. Because everybody in the room was just going, you know, on and on and on. And Henry felt like I don't want to ruin that. But
you didn't want to rock the cart?
He didn't want to rock the cart. It's the opposite of what we did with Sean Payton when we're talking about the quarterback from Michigan, you know, the third baseman,
baseball player,
Drew Henson.
Yeah.
Sean spoke up. Sean's like, I don't care what all you guys are saying. This guy can't play.
Yeah.
You know, and Henry was is a very, very quiet guy, and everything that he said about the player ended up being true. And then unfortunately he gets in that situation where, you know, he has to go to jail for being in a car accident, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, Good Samaritan accident there.
Yeah, it was a sad one.
Those were the times when I was like, but people wouldn't speak up, you know. That's one of the reasons why I got fired, because I said too much.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I mean, Jerry will tell you. If we're all with Jerry will say Brian got fired or his contract ran out, I got fired, whatever, because I fought all the time.
You would not be the get-along guy.
I'm not the get-along guy.
Well, the tension makes better decisions.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
The fact that we had this discussion about where made it even better.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those moments where it's like, that's drafting right there.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes people don't speak up, and then we could have avoided all this.
Okay, we're getting some great texts in here, Brian, and thank you so much for those stories.
No
it's always cool that you worked in those draft rooms. Yeah. Okay, Shane in Shreveport. How about when Mo Claiborne's mom being asked where she wanted him to go, and she said anywhere but the Cowboys. Then he got drafted by the Cowboys.
Traded up.
Tim in Carthage, little old school. He says Tony Dorsett without a doubt. 972
It's a
Roger.
big trade, by the way, to Seattle to get that pick. Yeah.
972 Roger Staubach has to be the greatest draft pick, the original Aaron Rodgers, and he has more rings too. Okay.
Preach, he sure does.
469. The only correct answer is what went down in Philadelphia a couple of years ago.
Drew Pearson. All right. How about them Cowboys? I want to thank the Eagle fans for allowing me to have a career in the NFL. Thank you. I am honored as an undrafted free agent to be selected to make the Cowboys second-round draft pick.
It's about to turn up.
And on behalf of the five-time world champion Dallas Cowboys, Hall of Fame owner Jerry Jones, Team Jones and the Jones family, Coach Jason Garrett, all the Cowboy players that played before me, that played with me, and played after me, with the second pick and the 60th pick in the second round, the Dallas Cowboys select defensive back from Colorado, Chidobe Awuzie.
Yeah, the original 88. I'll tell you, my favorite was when they moved up to go get Dez.
Oh, that was incredible.
That draft was incredible because the two players I was like, I really want Earl Thomas or I really want Dez Bryant.
How
and
about,
the Eagles moved up in that draft to 13, right ahead of Seattle. And I'm thinking, oh, crap. They're about to go get Earl. Please, God, no. They took Brandon Graham, who has ended up having an outstanding career. Earl goes to the next pick. But then the Patriots are on the clock. You see trade. Cowboys go from 27 to 24, take Dez. And he's my second favorite Cowboy of all time.
I think my favorite one we've ever done on the station was the CeeDee Lamb one.
Oh, that was incredible.
That was fun.
That night when CeeDee Lamb, and we're all thinking, and then all of a sudden,
cool.
And we all start screaming like little kids, but that was the fun one on the station we had.
903, I always get chills. I still get chills listening to that speech from Drew Pearson. Yeah.
It's amazing how loud that crowd got in Philadelphia. I mean, he just kept going.
He
It added fuel for him.
Powered
He's a
through that.
showman.
Yeah.
Okay, Drew Pearson trolling Philadelphia was the morning news #1. War Room phone number leaked in 2017.
Oh, my gosh.
Taylor.
They were getting blown up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if they could have kept it secret, they wouldn't have got flustered and taken Taco Charlton that year. You do have the leaked draft boards that they've done over the years.
Last year, Jerry just
2022.
showing it.
Yeah. Then
Look at where Tyler was.
2022 and 2013, they've shown the draft boards intentionally or unintentionally, and then the COVID, the draft at sea where they were all on his yacht.
Yeah,
that was an interesting one.
That COVID draft ended up being awesome. Like going and seeing all the coaches and GMs at their own houses, like Belichick with his dog
dog
drafting
sitting on
right
the
there.
at the
Ended
table.
up being a lot of fun.